on the Trace this morning. Beautiful morning. A little bit overcast, but not supposed to rain today. Temperature's just right. We have the windows up this morning. We do have a heater. We put in a brand new heater box in the Mustang. Rebuilt the dash, but I don't know, our heater switch is a little tricky. But it's really not that cold, is it? Put new seals in the doors. Got carpet, got soundproofing in the floor, so it's pretty well insulated. But I got to show you something right here. We had to get us a little tree to hang on the mirror that's something smell good. It's called Fresh Shave. So we decided on man trip that we were not going to shave. I brought a toothbrush. Braden did not. He forgot his toothbrush. So at some point today, we've got to find a store and go get us a toothbrush. This fella can't go but about 3 days without brushing his teeth. After that,
I already filled the build-up on it.
Are your teeth getting fuzzy?
Yeah.
You know how they get furry a little bit? And you rub your tongue across it and it feels like grass is growing on it? Yeah. Yeah, anyway, we have determined our roles on this trip. Braden's the driver. He's the driver, and I am the nature guide. And he has told me that that's my job title. We've got this little book right here that takes us mile marker by mile marker on the Trace, and it's got a top 20 places that fellas can stop if they want to. If they don't want to stop, that's perfectly fine, but it is a good guide. It goes from the bottom of the Trace to the top, and it just goes, like I said, mile marker by mile marker, and you can determine whether you want to stop or check something out or be prepared ahead of time. So this is a good little book that I ordered on Amazon. All right, well, here's a shot of the Trace. We're a little bit north of Jackson. The roads are a little bumpy up here, but it's all good. Look how pretty it is. I think we picked a great time of the year to come, spring. I'd also like to come in the fall when the leaves are pretty, so apparently we're just going to have to do this again. But have a good time. All right, we'll update later. Goodbye. At the Council House restaurant in French Camp. Things actually part of French Camp Academy, and students interested in culinary and business actually work here as part of the restaurant, so that's pretty cool. That was neat for me to see in the job and profession that I'm in. So Mustang's running good at lunchtime. Temperature is perfect for a nice purring running engine. We're going to try to find some non-ethanol fuel and hit the road again. But anyway, here's a shot of the Council House. Beautiful old facility, log cabin. The inside is very inviting and just a wonderful environment here. Braden and I are about to go to an antique shop right across the road, do a little pilfering around, see if we can come up with something. All right, besides a 6-cylinder as simple as this that you can actually stop and check spark plugs on the way, I'm going to pull a plug or two and look at them. And pulling a plug and looking at it is kind of like the doctor with a prostate exam. I'm sorry, Braden, you don't know what that is. But when I turned 40, I had my first one of those. So that's checking the health of your prostate. So what I'm doing is I'm checking the health of the I think Braden likes that. You don't like that analogy, do you, Braden? So I'm going to check the prostate of this engine and see how it's burning fuel. So what a plug should look like is kind of a dingy brown color, and I have suspicion that the motor is running a little lean. We haven't actually adjusted our carburetor completely out yet, but actually there's a little dark spot on the side, a little crusty. I mean, it doesn't look bad. I would rather it look a little more brown. If it looked black and sooty, that would mean it was running too rich. But if it had a nice brown tone to it, see a little bit brown right here. But these are brand new plugs. We've only got 300 miles on them. So, I don't know, maybe we are running a little rich. I mean, a little lean, I'm sorry. That means we're not really getting enough fuel. And I've noticed on the road, even coming up this hill to Little Mountain, that the motor was kind of sort of wanting to hesitate when I was trying to give it throttle. So we have just, let me stick my finger in one more time and check one more, Braden. Now, number 6 usually is the plug that will show you something first, because it's the furthest away from the radiator and it's the furthest away from getting cooled off, if that makes sense. So let's see how number 6 looks. It's the same way. It's getting a little hot spot there on one side. I'm a little concerned about that. I also have a feeling that we're burning a little oil, and we've used about half a quart of oil. But again, this motor is not even broken in yet, so it's common to use a little oil until the rings get seated to the cylinder. Anyway, there's a little tip and trick. So in less than 10 minutes, I have pulled all the plugs in this engine and checked each one to see what they look like. And the good news is they all look the same, so I don't think we have a problem in any one particular place. So anyway, there's a little tip for the day. Hey, Braden and I are sitting on top of Little Mountain at Jeff Busby Park, I believe it is, off the Natchez Trace. It's kind of a special place for me because this is a place that my grandfather, Reverend Ozzie Sullivan, used to bring us camping. And one of my loves for camping probably came from him. He also enjoyed road trips, and he was probably one that introduced me to taking road trips, because it was a time that we could spend together uninterrupted. And he used to say, let's put 5 gallons of gas in the car and go wherever we want. And we went all over the place. So he's probably the inspiration behind these road trips that Braden and I have been on the last couple of years. Anyway, we're on top of Little Mountain. He loved this place. It's actually the highest elevation in Mississippi. I think we're at a whopping 600 feet above sea level. It's not like the Rocky Mountains, but it is a very beautiful scene here, as you can see. Just a gorgeous day. And in honor of Reverend Ozzie Sullivan, Braden is going to do a devotion for us today. All right, get after it, Braden.
So this one is called The Man Who Shines from the Hilltop. And it's in the Bible verses from Matthew 5:16. It says, let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. When Jesus gave the Sermon on the Mount, he used the geographical features of the land to impart God's truth. In Matthew 5:14-16, Jesus says, ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works, and glorify your Father which is in heaven. The ancient city of Hippos sat on a hill towards the southeastern end of the Sea of Galilee. As one of the cities of the Decapolis, Hippos was a Greco-Roman culture center. Also, due to its natural advantageous position, the city was fortified as a military outpost and would have been difficult to conquer. In fact, it took an earthquake centuries after Jesus Christ walked the earth to finally destroy it. When Jesus compared his followers to a city on a hill, his original audience would have immediately thought of Hippos. Its position was obvious, and that was part of its strength. A man of purpose draws strength from his identity in Christ, and his faith is made obvious by his actions. As Hippos was a culture center for Greeks and Romans, Christians should live as a culture center for God, for God's values, representing him in regions surrounding by our beliefs. As children of God, we live on a hilltop, shining God's light through our good works. When we engage in ungodly deeds, we cover his light and rob him of glory. Are you shining God's light or covering it up? How can you let your light shine more brightly before others?
All right, Poppy, that was in honor of you. He was always a person that just walked around loving people. Just loving people, and through that action, people saw Jesus. And so this is in honor of you today, Poppy. We're on top of a little mountain. You remember us camping here when I was a little boy? I vaguely remember it, but everything is coming back to life now after I've driven up here and seen the bathhouse and everything else. So thank you, Poppy, for all that you've instilled in me and so many others. Love you. So now on the trace, something has happened to us twice. Last night before we got to our hotel, the choke closed on us coming off the exit and flooded the motor. It happened again when we saw a park ranger and slowed down because he had a commercial truck pulled over. So this choke lever right here was closing on us and flooding the engine. And I had put an electric choke on it right before we left, but I ran into a problem where I didn't have enough electrical supply to actually run this thing. So I just kind of opened the choke all the way up and decided to leave it alone. However, this has happened to us twice, so I've hooked the choke up directly to the battery. I've got a little on switch right here. So when we're running, the electric choke will be on. We just have to remember to cut this off when we stop for the night, or our battery will run down. I know it looks redneck. It's horrible. It's horrible, but we're right in the middle of a road trip and can't slow fellas down. And we got to keep going, and the motor is running lean because of this. The choke was staying wide open, so lean condition, wasn't getting enough power. Now we're going to get more power, run better, and then not flood out at certain points. So another little redneck tip of the day. Thank you.